A second sentence pattern sentence pattern 2 is the compound sentence. A compound sentence joins two equally important ideas and is made up of more than one independent clause. Let me say that again. A compound sentence is made up of more than one independent clause. Already we have the distinguishing characteristic of a compound sentence as opposed to a simple sentence which is made up of one independent clause. There are many ways to form compound sentences. We're going to talk about three of them in specific. The first one is to take an independent clause, here referred to as an IC, place a comma after the first independent clause, add a coordinating conjunction, and then follow with another independent clause. This method is a very common way of joining compound independent clauses to form compound sentences. Let's say you have two independent clauses. The first is I needed to leave the house in a hurry. The second part, I could not find my keys. I can particularly identify this one because I'm always losing my keys. I want to get out of the house in a hurry, but I can't find my keys. My daughter was sick, so I had to miss class. What we have is a relationship between two ideas that the writer equally values. It's important that I leave the house in a hurry, but it's also important that I find my keys because then I can't leave the house in a hurry without them. It's extremely important to me that my daughter was sick, but I also really wanted to miss class. The idea with a compound sentence is you're taking two equally important ideas and finding a way to put them together. Otherwise, your sentences would all read this way. I needed to leave the house in a hurry, period. I could not find my keys, period. My daughter was sick, period. I had to miss class, period. And you can easily see how dull a combination of those types of simple sentences would be, particularly in a lengthy paper. Again, remember, here's your key, an IC is an independent clause. Now, one of the ways it's very easy actually to remember coordinating conjunctions if you think of an acronym, which just means initials where each letter stands for a term. And here we have fanboys. Remember fanboys, and you'll remember the coordinating conjunctions. Here's how this looks. F is for for. For is very similar to the meaning when it's used as coordinating conjunction to the word because you're expressing a cause of an action. We'll see an example in just a minute. Sometimes you just want to quickly add on another idea. And is a coordinating conjunction for that. Sometimes you want to set up a neither nor or a nor between two sentences, and so you use nor as a coordinating conjunction to express a negative alternate. B is for but, of course that states the contrast. O is for or, again to express an alternative but not necessarily a negative one. Y is for yet, which expresses again a contrast. And so will state the result of the action. Let's look at some examples and think about how we're going to punctuate these compound sentences. First, remember that a compound sentence is going to join those clauses together with a fanboys. There are other ways also to form compound sentences. One of the most important alternatives is to use a semicolon. Many times students are afraid of semicolons, that you may not have tried a semicolon before, but it's easy to use semicolons if you remember that a semicolon has the same strength as a period. So you do not want to use a semicolon unless you could also use a period in the same place. Again, I'm trying to leave that house in a hurry, but I'm not finding my keys. However, I decided to emphasize these ideas without a fanboy. I needed to leave the house in a hurry, semicolon. I could not find my keys. Please note that that semicolon is located at the exact place where the two independent clauses collide. My daughter was sick. I had to miss class. Again, equally important ideas, short clauses. Before we move to the next alternative, let's think about what the semicolon does. First, you want to use a semicolon between closely related independent clauses. They need to have something to do with each other in meaning. Also, semicolons are generally used between short independent clauses. Long independent clauses are often not as good an option for a semicolon. Now, you can also use a semicolon. I'm sure you've tried this in your sentences. You can use to create a compound sentence by using and setting up your independent clause, using the semicolon, using a conjunctive adverb followed by a comma, followed by another independent clause. Now, conjunctive adverb sounds like a big word, and it's not to confuse you. That's not the intent, but just think conjunct. What does it mean to conjunct? Junct means join, con means together. So this is an adverb, or you can just call it a conjunctive word that's going to join together two independent clauses. The semicolon before the conjunctive adverb, the comma after the conjunctive adverb. Here is a list of very commonly used conjunctive adverbs. Remember that we're going to place a comma after the conjunctive adverb, and that the semicolon will still occur where the two independent clauses come together. However, conjunctive adverb, therefore, moreover, furthermore, consequently, otherwise, instead, nevertheless, and then the little words, thus, also, then, and meanwhile thrown in for good measure. Remember to use the comma. The reason I'm emphasizing the comma so much is that it signals the reader that two independent clauses have come together and that there is another independent clause that will be following. This is very important to read the sentence smoothly.